Hey there, Storm fans. I am Bryant Cook, and today we are playing the PTQ Winning Jeskai Breach list. I've never played a game of this before in my life, so I brought in someone who's even better than me at Magic, Jarvis Yu. Welcome, Jarvis.
Yo, what's up? Happy winter. Happy 2023.
Yeah. So, for those of you that don't know, Jarvis has not one. I only have one GP top 8. Jarvis has 4. That's how good Jarvis is. Literally 4 times as good as I am. So, hopefully, Jarvis can carry us to some victories today. On top of that, Jarvis has twice the number of Twitter followers that I do. So, that's how you know he's cool, unlike me. Jarvis, is there anything else that you would like to say about yourself?
Magic is great. I love playing Magic. I love playing combo when it's good. And this list caught my eye when I looked at it. I do stream a fair amount of Magic on Twitch, not YouTube, unfortunately. And I like talking about Magic with anyone. So if you want to hit me up on Twitter, Twitch, Discord, feel free. And I welcome everyone.
I will put Jarvis's Twitch link down below. Jarvis also has a YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe there. You know, support Jarvis, all that good stuff. And sorry, Jarvis, I'm going to get in one dagger here. Jarvis and I did play a match once before in the Legacy Premier League where I was victorious and took down the finals. Sorry, Jarvie.
Okay.
But today we will be playing this pretty powerful breach deck. Jarvis is the one that sent it to me, and I was like, hey, Jarvis, I have no idea what I'm doing. Want to go through this together. I don't believe that Jarvis has ever played this list either because, well, it's fairly new.
Yeah, when I look at this deck, what I actually see is an Izzet deck that has a combo kill built into it. I mean, it's labeled Jeskai. There's like a few white cards, but at its core, it's like all of the good cards in Izzet and Murktide are in this deck pretty much, and just has a combo shell instead of like the counter spell or Mage's Charm Murktide Regent shell instead.
Yeah, and there's another breach deck in the format that also runs Ragavan. I know that in the past it's also ran Dragon's Reach Channeler, but they've kind of gone away from that ever since the printing of Ledger Shredder. It's more of an Urza Saga grinding station deck if you're familiar with that version of the Underworld Breach modern deck. So Jarvis, when I was looking over this deck list when you initially sent it to me, I was like, oh cool, they're playing Gigantha, that's pretty sweet. And then I noticed this card over here in the sideboard, Orvar the All Form. This didn't really make sense to me initially. Do you mind explaining it for the audience?
Yeah, there's a deck in the format that tries to cheat out Archon of Creativity or Archon of Cruelty using Indomitable Creativity or Transmogrify. If you have this card in your hand when they make one Archon, you the way the trigger on Archon works is basically, you know, you discard your card, you sacrifice a creature, lose 3 life, they gain 3 life. Then that will come into play because it also is a trigger, and then you can use its trigger to copy Archon Cruelty. And as long as they've only made, even if they've made 2 Archons, yours will beat 2 Archons, actually.
Yeah. And let's talk about the bare bones of the deck first. So when I look at this deck, I was initially like, it's like sort of a hybrid combo control deck. I mean, I'm down for that. I mean, I've played a lot of Paradoxical Outcome and Vintage in my life. But I was looking and I was like, oh, weird. With Underworld Breach in the deck, you don't really make mana in this deck unless you have a Brawl already in play with the Manamorphose. There's no rituals in this deck, and there's no way to gain mana. So I thought that was actually pretty interesting. When you look at some of the other versions of Breach in the format, they have things like Mox Amber or Pyretic Ritual. And I just thought that was sort of a interesting note. Like, this deck isn't really looking to go as big, I feel like. Would you agree with that, Jarvis, or do you have a differing opinion?
I 100% agree. Well, when I look at this deck, I see a deck that happens to kill with Breach rather than is focusing on killing with Breach.
For sure. And that was one of the things that got me initially, but I do think something that's really nice about this deck is, I mean, I've played a bunch of Breach decks in my life, but Teferi is just so good because one of the problems with Breach in the format is, well, a bunch of the Modern Horizons 2 cards, right? Like, so you have Endurance, and then obviously there's like Modern Horizons 1 cards like Force of Vigor and Force of Negation. And I don't know, it's just this card shutting down all of them makes Underworld Breach a lot better in my experience.
Yeah, the one thing I would like to note is the one enemy of the card that Teferi doesn't shut off is obviously Boseiju, who endures. But I kind of feel like there's just enough counterplay in this deck. Like if they're holding up one ingredient the entire game, we'll just like cast some iterations, cast some other creatures, and like double port them every turn of the game.
Yeah, for sure. And a card that I've been loving recently in Legacy is Prismatic Ending. Possibly the best removal spell ever printed. Like Swords to Plowshares and Lightning Bolt are very, very good, but I don't know. I love me Prismatic Ending right now. It's definitely top 3. All right, so Jarvis, do you have any other thoughts before we head on over to match number 1? Do you think that the Remand Grape Shot will come up at all?
I think what is more likely to happen is we mill both of those with DRC and then cast Breach and then cast both.
Fair. So correct me if I'm wrong. With Underworld Breach, if you escape Grape Shot and then remand it, this would become. No, that would work. It's different from Past in Flames. Ignore me. Ignore me. See, this is why I need a Jarvis.
Well, they wanted Escape to be like, well, how it worked in the limited format was they just wanted to give you like inevitability with your creatures. So if like a counterspell just would like exile it, that's not what they wanted. They wanted the flavor to be like, oh, it just goes back to the graveyard, and like Elspeth is trying to escape from the underworld again. That's what happens in the story.
Yeah. And they accidentally printed a card better than Yawgmoth's Well. Who would have known?
Yeah, that's. I don't think it's really debatable at this point because you see a lot more breaches than you do Yogwills in Vintage.
Well, you're only allowed to see one Yawgmoth's Well in Vintage.
Yeah, but what I actually meant was there's a lot of decks you see that just don't play Yogwill that do play Breach.
Yeah. Okay, without any further ado, Jarvis and I are going to head on over to match number 1. We hope to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, early access to videos, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, such as theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Match number 1. Jarvis and I are on the play. Reveal our Gigantha, our mystical elk. Alright, so Jarvis, what do you think of this, 4-lander triple cantrip?
I think I would probably keep blind. But obviously, this could like if our opponent's like Burn or something. This is not a great hand, of course. But
yeah. Would you fetch the Thin initially, or would you just play the island?
Let me check. I think there's also like a non-zero amount of value fetching Hallowed Fountain.
That's what I would do. Yeah.
You should use Flooded Strand because you have a basic island and mountain.
So we'll grab the fountain. And just pass the turn. Actually, I probably didn't even need to do this then, but
yeah, I think I would have waited to see owning their end step because if they like go Goblin Guide, we'll regret. Oh god. Oh god. Okay, it's only a Rift Bolt, but still, I think just not shocking ourselves is probably better.
I'm gonna keep this.
Reasonable.
So there's some question here on whether or not you cast this now and hope to just spike a Bobble to get ahead because we don't have a whole lot of time against the burn deck.
Well, actually, I have a better question for you. Is there any merit to just cycling 2 Metamorphoses because of Idol of the Great Revel?
We could do that. I don't remember if this list had a basic mountain in it.
It does.
Okay.
It has a snow mountain and snow island, although I guess you've changed it to your favorite island of all time.
Oh, I definitely did. My basics are, I love my invasion basics. So let's cycle the Morphos. We don't really gain a whole lot by holding them in this deck anyway. Which is something I'm not used to. I'm used to always holding them. Another land, not so great.
Okay, so I think the real question is it better to try to spike a 0-drop of which there's only 4, or to spike a red 1-drop of which there are 8?
I would go with the latter.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out for kind viewers at home.
Not so great.
I see. So normally a great card, but I think in a matchup like this, speed matters more than attrition. So we are not even going to have time to cast all these like divinations, I think, is the problem.
Here we eat a Rift Bolt, and we're at 13 already.
Hey, this is a classic enemy for all of the Storm decks you like to play, right?
This is true. However, no turn 2 Eidolon. Interesting. I'm just going to ask a question. I'm not saying that this is the play we need to make. Is it crazier to just play Steam Vents Go?
No, that's what I would do. Because, like, I think I like to say when I'm streaming or coaching or whatever, games tell a story. What could our opponent possibly have in their hand if they're competent? And the most likely answer is like Boros Charm or Lightning Helix.
I was
Because
thinking
they
the same
didn't really
thing.
play anything on one. Or I guess that.
I'm good with remanding this if you are.
Yeah, I think you just have to use your mana because what if they pass again, right?
Okay. They play Fiery Islet and Lava Spike. We're at 10. With a hand full of cards. Not loving my odds here.
No.
Jeez. So we could play Ragavan. We could dash Ragavan. Attack, see if they try to kill it. And if it gets through, we could potentially use the treasure. Well, we could play Expressive Iteration. Maybe it's don't play your land, dash Ragavan, because then your iteration can hit a land, but I mean that's not really what we want either.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to dash Ragavan first off Hallowed Fountain Mountain to begin with.
Alright, let's dash the Ragavan. Hiya. And I think best case scenario is that they use a lightning bolt on this, and that buys us some more time. They do not use a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Because it's on top of their deck.
Not even convinced you want to cast it here, really.
So would you now iterate?
Yeah, I think so off the treasure.
Play the expressive iteration. Alright, so let's put the Brawl to hand. And then the next card goes on the bottom, which would be Manamorphose. We can play the Bobble this turn. Unfortunately, I would have to deal myself damage in order to play this bolt here. So I think instead we just play the Spire Bluff and pass. We could also try bluffing with the island, but I don't know how far that's going to get us. And
I think it's a valueless bluff. Really.
Yeah, and one nice thing is that the island comes, assuming we get another turn, right? The island would come into play untapped next turn without any damage on it.
Right.
One with 5 cards in hand.
We know one's crack, right?
Correct. I think we're pretty likely to be dead here. So now we're at 6.
Okay, yeah, I mean, like, their hand would have to be like 3 lands and Skullcrack for you to win.
Probably.
And still, I think you have to like fade too many turns to have a shot.
Well, there's 3 damage.
Wow.
Shard Volley, blast from the past.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one in a while.
Alright, so we're facing Burn. I have to imagine these Flusterstorms are pretty valuable here.
I agree.
So other cards I'm somewhat interested in is the Remand. Maybe that's not accurate. We can always board that out. And like Wear Chair is kind of interesting because it does kill Eidolon for a single mana at instant speed. But I'm not, like, let's put the Remand back up here because I'm not super confident in this one. I think Wear Chair is probably fine. Path is probably fine, but I don't love giving them the mana, especially when we have something like Wear Chair.
I have a question for you, and are you really that scared of Eidolon when we have 5 like shocks in our deck?
You say that, but yes, I am terrified.
Yeah, but I think the problem I have with exactly Wear Tear is that it's kind of an awkward card. Besides, like, if you just imagine all of the non-Eidolon games, Wear Tear will be completely dead, right?
Fair. So we're at 63 right now. And when I'm looking at the deck, there's no cards that obviously stand out to me as stinkers. But that said, I mean, Teferi is going to be very expensive in the matchups. I think that one can probably leave. And then I wonder if we can actually protect Baral long enough in order to facilitate a breach win. It's going to be tough, but Also, like, you could just look at it like blue healing salve.
Yep. Uh, I want to propose a different way of looking at it, which is I believe prismatic ending is extremely overrated versus burn, especially when the way you have to fetch to cast it is to shock yourself.
Okay.
I think basically this is a matchup where you'd rather be straight Izzet because we don't have something like timely reinforcements or sunset revelry, you know?
Okay. So we have one slot open then. Do you like the remand?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Let's go. I don't know if I would have seen that line on my own to board out the
Think
ending.
it's just a matter of imagining how you want to fetch versus your opponent, right?
Yeah. This is a pretty easy keep.
Yep. I mean, any like one drop removal spell is like makes the hand above average, I think, in the matchup. Because obviously we died to a no creature draw, but I think that's actually pretty rare.
But we did help them a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And there's the Goblin Guide. So we'll let the Goblin Guide trigger, and then we can fetch our basic mountain.
Well,
And
so I was about to say, what if you hit your 1 in 53 of it being a mountain?
okay. So I'm open for fetching here. Like it's fine. So the thought my process I had was I think if it was Underworld Breach, I would consider not fetching. And we reveal the
Okay.
bolt. I'm down for
That's
that.
excellent as well, obviously.
Like I think in order to win this matchup, you pretty much have to find, at least if you want to win quickly, I think you probably want the brawl and a breach.
Hmm. I think the other way you can win is like some weird, like, is it Murktide esque hand where you like go Ragavan, DRC bolt their thing, you know?
They suspend another Rift Bolt. On their end step, I think I'm just going to get Isling and cast the Consider
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
rather than fetch a Steam Vents and take a turn off. I'm not really interested in that. Consider. And they play
Wow.
with
What?
fire. Sure.
Huh.
They put the card back on top. I am interested in you. So they scry to the top, so if we dash the Ragavan, we get to take their card. But on top of that, um, we get to hold up Remand still. Hiya.
It is
So
pretty funny that we just knew that they wanted the top card. Cool. I
I
think you should just cast that Swift Spear and be a, prowess deck this game instead.
I'm gonna sacrifice the treasure rather than bolt
Yeah, I
myself.
think so.
I am down for this.
I mean, Metamorphosis is really good with Swift Spear. I think you know that.
Yeah. So now the Rift Bolt's going to come off suspend. I wonder if they try to kill their own. Nope, they're coming at me. I'm at 13.
I think that's like a trap for them.
So they have 4 left in hand. Another Goblin Guide.
Here you don't have to fetch, but I mean,
We don't have another basic to get, unfortunately.
yeah, it's unfortunate, but I kind of we can see what it is first.
Expressive
Do you want
Iteration.
iteration?
I'm not sure if we do. If you look at our next turn, we're going to double Morphos, Dash Ragavan, have Remand up.
Yeah, the question is if you want to fetch shock to kill the guide.
So
And I think you probably do.
here's a question: would you bolt them in block?
Um, Actually, that is interesting. I would block first, then bolt if you're going to do that.
Okay.
And I think I'm down for that. Actually, if they like send a burn spell at the Swift Sphere, that's kind of a win.
So unfortunately, we're going to 10 life here. Getting a white source doesn't make any sense.
No, it
So
doesn't do anything.
let's grab a Steam Vents. Ouch. And we'll bolt them. And we
Kind
got
of flabbergasted that worked because they actually knew about the lightning bolt from Goblin Guide, right?
I believe so. We're at 7 now. We're at 4 now. They have 1 card in hand.
So I think there's actually, well, you should definitely burn both the Metamorphoses, but I think there's a lot of merit to just leaving up free man next turn
Well, we can
if you
still
can.
do that with the
Yeah.
treasure off of Ragavan. So first Manamorphose. We can play out the turn, but we don't need to use it. Assuming we
I'm
don't have it.
definitely not. Yeah, I'm definitely trying not to use it if I can avoid it.
Alright, we're
Right,
storming
well,
off here.
I mean, you basically have a fake storm card. It's not as good as like an actual storm card. Wait,
Um, okay,
you
so
don't. I, the next turn that's almost certainly lethal. Wait, actually,
they're
hold
at
on. We should
14.
count.
So breach
Can
would
you
be
cast enough bolts?
so if
You can
we
only cast 2 bolts, right? But you should just count.
yeah, so we play breach, that brings us up to 5. We'd have to fetch down to 1 life, and then we
Mm-hmm.
can cast 2 bolts, which would be 6, 7 plus 6 is we could put them to 1.
Can you cast one Metamorphose first?
We have 10 cards in graveyard. So yes,
So it looks lethal to me then, right?
I believe so.
I would just double check before you do it because if
So
you're
we
wrong,
cast
you'll die.
one Metamorphose, we go to 7. We cast a bolt that brings us to 4. We cast bolt that brings us to 1, which is the lightning bolt itself. This is lethal. Assuming we have a red source to fetch for it, but we have the Sacred Foundry. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this just wins.
Nice, you love to see it. It is pseudo storm, is how I'd call it.
Alright. Let's Metamorphose. And it's important that we add red here.
Yep.
Red, red. Now we bolt. Sometimes I feel like this line would have been, it's like easier to see playing on Magic Online than it would have been
Yep.
playing in paper.
Turn for a kill. You love to see it. Um, for what it's worth, a bunch of the Izzet prowess decks started playing some number of Underworld Breach because of the turns like these.
Yeah, card's very powerful. Do we want to make any adjustments for game 3 on the draw?
Don't think so. The only thing that improves slightly in the draw, I think, is path, but I think it's like kind of a stinker still.
Yeah, I'm good with resubmitting as well. Reveal our elk. It's tough to
Well,
say no to this.
I mean, it's an excellent hand, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you could get completely screwed, but like, if you told me you could start with 2 lands Lightning Bolt in the opener and like 4 other bricks, I would keep.
So they suspended a Rift Bolt. So that makes me less inclined to play out the Ragavan. So we have to ask ourselves, would you rather hold open Bolt? Because if you play out the turn, I'd really want to be able to get the basic mountain. I don't want to have to use the turn to get an island, if that makes sense.
Well, let me propose another play before you even do anything. Why don't we just bubble ourselves?
Okay.
Okay, well, you don't want to draw that one. Or actually, do you? No, I don't think you do.
Because we'd have to wait a turn. So I couldn't deploy the
Yeah,
Ragavan this turn. I think it's Flooded
I think you
Strango.
should. Well, I kind of feel like you're okay with them rift bolting your Ragavan, right?
Even though we're fetching away the one on top.
Yeah, I wanted to do that first because if it's like another bolt or unholy heat, I think you definitely want to keep that. But now I'm just thinking about what's going to happen in the next few turns. I think next turn, I think that you could make a case that you're probably going to have to bolt a creature, and we can leave up Fluster. And then the turn after, I want to play Expressive Iteration. So there's actually no time to cast a second Ragavan, right?
Yeah, okay. Let's play the monkey.
I think if you could exchange all of your cards as healing salves versus them, you actually would win a lot, right? Because you have like card draw in your deck.
Yeah. So the bobble.
Also, one more thing is they played Sunbaked Canyon. That tells you something about their hand.
And we drew the second Ragavan anyway. Shufflebug, right?
I think. Okay, well, wait.
They took
Yeah, I think they're just land white, obviously,
yeah, because
because like
they sent the play with
you played
fire at
Canyon on
me.
one. Well, they also played Canyon on one, right? You only play Canyon on one if you have multiple Canyons or you have a one lander, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I
I
think.
should have considered not playing my flooded strand there so I could play the
Yeah,
iteration. I realized it once I
I
did
think
it.
it's okay not to actually. I would just send Bolt upstairs and say go. I
All right.
think this is a ride the monkey to win sort of game, if that makes sense. Also, them rift bolting you, I think, is very optimistic. Yeah, I would just fetch Highland and
What do you think about just remanding?
um, that is interesting. I think I would actually.
Because like we could hold the remand for an Eidolon or whatever, but like they're stuck on resources, and now like that puts and we hit
Wow.
the channeler. Oh, that was pretty good. So we have artifact land instant.
I would just hit them first and see what happens.
All right, so this will send them to 10 life. Trigger. All right,
Okay, I think I would just play DRC iteration.
and hopefully we had a blue land off this because that means we could hold open the
Yeah,
cluster.
but I kind of feel like they are mega dead already. Nice.
So is it crazy that I want to take the bobble and play the spire bluff? Like,
No,
there's no reason to take remand,
not
right?
crazy at all. I don't think that's crazy at all.
So now we get these Reveal, put this on top.
Yep. I would just bobble them just to find out.
Skewer, that card is not very good right now.
No, I'm a huge hater of that card actually. Although they played a lot of weird cards for that deck, like Play with Fire you don't see very often. Well, it's frankly just kind of bad, honestly.
Jarvis just roasting her opponent.
Oh, it's just the card choices are bad.
Flusta. Yeah, we'll keep that.
Should we? Like, I actually think there's a good chance we shouldn't, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. I can always consider it away in the upkeep.
Yeah, I think just like looking for
Another Bolter Underworld Breach.
yeah,
Alright, let's consider it away. It's fine.
it's never too late to fix your mistakes when you have DRC.
Okay. I did it again. I have
Yeah,
expressive iteration.
yeah. Um, I mean they can't kill you next turn even if you go to 10, so it's fine. But I think what we should have done was just attack and then played Baral Manamorphose iteration second main, but
Alright, let's do that. I need to get used to not playing my lands with expressive iteration. It's a card that I admittedly don't play that often.
it's a broken card. You
Oh.
should play it more. Also, your opponent got tired of playing.
All right, let's see if we can look at what our top would have been. So we would have drawn the turn off Manamorphose, and then it's not going to let me see one more.
I mean, in reality, what happened was our opponent kept a one-lander and died to the broken MH2 creatures.
It's a shame. All right, well, that was match number 1. We are officially 1-0, 4 more rounds to go. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Match number 2, we are on the play, and I say we because once again I have Jarvis Yu with me. We will reveal our Gigantha. Jarvis, it's worth noting, you have a pretty high finish with an Izzet based tempo deck, if I'm not wrong. Maybe somewhere down in like Atlanta?
Oh yeah, well, the deck was kind of broken, but
Jarvis top aided the Legacy GP that Cyrus Corman Gill won with the Rugged Delver Ren and 6 deck with 2 copies of Dreadhorde Arcanist in it. Right? I think yours had 2. I know that you were also playing the I can't think, the Hex Drinker, the 1-mana green snake.
yeah, it turns out when you don't run out of lands, Hex Drinker becomes a lot better.
Xander's Lounge, so this is probably the creativity deck.
Yeah, I mean, our hand's pretty good.
Alright, so Ragavan connects. Blood Crypt. I think I would just play the Brawl here.
Yep.
So I could fetch the White Source out.
I don't think you need to. Plus, you might draw Mishra's Bauble as well.
Yeah. Do you think that Gigantha is a card, and I know that this isn't the deck we're playing today, but is this a card that Gift Storm should be looking at since it's free to play in that deck?
Probably not.
Lightning Salve.
Yeah, interesting. I think this is Domain Zoo, probably then. based on all of the cards played.
All right. Well, back-to-back lands was not ideal.
This thing is weird that they killed your Brawl instead of Ragavan. Yep, it
Leyline
is
binding.
domains you.
All right. So
I
let's
think
put
we should
the
put.
yep
Yeah.
the elk.
I mean, if they're gonna try to kill all of our stuff, then Gigantha becomes good.
They play a Sacred Foundry. When the companions were all printed, and I'm ashamed to admit this, but the one I was initially most excited for was Gigantha, and clearly I missed the mark on that one. I mean, obviously I was excited about Luris. That one was obviously cracked, but after Luris.
Everyone knew Luris was too good. It was just not fun.
So this is a 5 at the moment. We can maybe get to Delirium.
Yeah. Don't play your line. Just play Iteration.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Okay.
So play Expressive.
Well, I guess you can ending it.
So I think we want to put Breach to hand.
Yeah.
That's on the bottom. And then we can cast the ending. I guess I should use this strand now, rather than throw away a treasure.
I agree. I think when you die to Domain Zoo, it doesn't really matter what your life roll is, because you usually take like a lot of damage at once, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
Although, I'm sure you remember Travel Flames. Let's try to stay above 15 and if possible.
Yeah. Leyline binding. So we can dash this other Ragavan from our hand.
This is the wrong time for them to do it.
Oh, they're going to target... Okay. For a second there, it looked like they were targeting their own creature.
You can't. I believe it says opponent controls on it.
Alright, and now we can dash our Ragavan.
Yeah, that was just a mistake for them.
Gotcha. So, no, we couldn't do that. Ignore me. I was like, if we had their Leyline binding, could we Leyline binding their Leyline binding? And the answer is no.
Leyline binding costs a lot of mana. Time of Jericho also costs a lot of mana.
Why don't we have more colors in our deck, Jarvis?
Because we're Jeskai and not Domain.
That might explain it. Well, we do have a green elk in our hand.
Also a red elk.
They play a Steam Vents into Bloodbraid Elf.
Alright.
Territorial Kabu is back. We have Sorcery Land Creature.
Yeah. So, because you have 4 breaches in your deck, you can always burn one as like a Snapcaster Mage for what it's worth.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just need instant, though, for the Kabu.
Yeah.
So we're at 14 now. They have 3 cards in hand. That worked out pretty well.
There you go. Yeah, so you can just kill their stuff and dash a Ragavan. Oh, wait, this is what Izzet Murktide players do every game. This is literally how it goes.
It's just not right. Alright, so let's not cast the Underworld Breach. Let's instead cast the Ragavan, or dash the Ragavan. Get in there. Maybe we'll hit one of their Kabus. That'd be nice.
Are they playing Solitude? No, I think they have a companion, actually. Yeah, they also have Gigantha. Okay.
We hit a Wooded Foothills. Okay, Ragavan comes home. As Jarvis mentioned, like, we can just value breach as well, and a card that we could value breach back is this Expressive Iteration, which would give us more cards to then breach again. Another Blood.
Also at 9.
That's true. Well, now they're at 12.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be harder to do that. I wonder if they can even attack if they have no land drop.
And they don't. Oh. Alright, they have 2 cards left. I think I'm down to value breach this turn.
That makes it better as well.
Alright, let's Manamorphose. We'll have blue-red. Bolt is a good one. So hold on, I should count first.
Yep.
So if we bolt them, they go to 9, and then we have 8 cards. No, we're short. Alright, I'm gonna kill the elf. Dash the monkey. And it's worth noting, if we hit another land off this Ragavan, we could always play the Gigantha.
It's not worth nothing. Like, it is a 5/5.
We hit an Arid Mesa. Alright, I think it's monkey time, or elk time. And you know what, Jarvis? Because I can, I'm going to cast it using the green mana. This elk is
Still gets
green.
hydroblasted.
All right, Ragavan comes home, and the mystical elemental elk is on the battlefield. If you look at it in the art, I've noticed that it's like a giant elk. It's not like a regular elk.
Right. I think regular elks would be like 3/3s or 2/2s.
Shardless Agent.
They're Cascade Domain Zoo. They hit Lightning Bolt. It doesn't have a good target.
They do have a Shardless Agent, though. Ooh, they're sending it at me. I'm at 3. So they're telling me I need to win now, and I'm pretty sure we can.
Yep. I would just count.
All right, 8 cards in graveyard.
So remember, you can always Unholy Heat the agent to force 5 through, so you only need 2 bolts.
Yeah. So we would hypothetically tap these 2 lands, play Breach, Sacred Foundry to cast the Unholy Heat. I could dash a Ragavan.
I think it is very trivially lethal then, right?
Yeah. Because that means I only need 1 bolt.
Yeah.
All right, so Breach. Kill the agent. Ouch, we go to 1. Dash the monkey. Hiya, getting in there for 5 with our companion.
It was critical to this game.
Ooh, what if we flip Tribal Flames here and we kill them with the Tribal Flames for 3? Just their
Or their
own
lightning bolt.
bolt? Fine.
That would have been more amusing if you killed them with Lightning Helix.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, that was easy.
So we definitely want the Path
Sort
to
of.
Exile, and I think the ending too. Like, we basically want all of our
Yep.
removal that is cost
So,
efficient.
let me tell you a story about Dristan and Territorial Kavu. The first time Ari and I played the Domain Zoo deck, our opponent cast Dristan on the board 2 Kavus. Both our Kavus died, and our opponent drew a card. So I think you want that card as well.
Oh, okay. I haven't read Territorial Kavu that much, but I imagine it's a star, and that takes that away.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very unpleasant.
I have to imagine, I could be wrong here, that Remand is a little clunky in this matchup.
Remand also notoriously bad versus Cascade spells as well.
Yeah, so let's get those out of the deck. That brings us to 62. I'm sort of not interested in the Teferi here.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I think if the board's stable, it's good, but it's also like, how do you get to that point, right?
So I guess like if you wanted to leave this in, what card in your deck is worse than it? And I think the answer could be Brawl.
I think it's probably Brawl is the next worst card, if I had to guess. I also think, given the way their deck is constructed, we should actually have Wear Tear because they have Sign of Draco and Leyland Binding over the Brawls.
I like that.
Basically, I want to be like a mid-range Breach deck and less of a combo Breach deck versus them.
I mean, people come to the Epic Storm for their combo decks, Jarvis, and I think we sold them a lie. I think we're actually just playing Izzet tempo. Look at that.
We have a great shot in our hand. I don't know what you're talking about, man. There's literally Storm Spell right there.
Congrats on being tricked into watching this Izzet tempo video with Jarvis Yu. So, in situations like this, is it crazy to ever lead on the channeler just accepting the fact that this is likely going to die and then you get to keep Ragavan? Or do you always lead on Ragavan?
So I would just play the Ragavan here and like take my lumps because I think the upside is just way too high.
Okay. I was just curious as someone who doesn't typically play these decks that often.
Mm-hmm. I'm just hoping they play a Sign of Draco. So I was about to say they almost always play Steam Vents off of that start. Okay.
Ragavan met its maker.
Nice. Do you think it's like kind of interesting how well Manamorphose and DRC play together? It's like pretty potent.
Yeah. So assuming our opponent doesn't do anything in like meaningful, I'd probably get the Sacred Foundry off the turn here.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh. Okay.
That's not good. It's very hard for us to kill that thing.
So we would have had Teferi as a time walk, but that's it.
Yeah. So one thing you can do, you can dress down and get past the hexproof.
We can also just try to race it.
I think you should just lead with Manamorphose again.
Yep, that was my game plan. And it has hexproof for monocolor and not protection. So we can always
Right.
swing in with the Ragavan.
Yep. I'm just concerned about these 4/4s.
I think I want to mill this.
I agree.
So now we'll draw a card off the Manamorphose. We'll make red blue. Okay.
It's dashing time.
So we're instant land creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer.
Darn.
Okay, we get the trigger.
Lightning Helix. Oh my god, it's Lightning Helix!
Let's kill that general. Hiya.
For those of you who don't know, I'm referencing the infamous Craig Jones Lightning Helix.
Wow, what a blowout. Ragavan OP.
I mean, they could have blocked, but I think it's also wrong for them to block.
Oh, our opponent's letting us have it in chat.
Hey, it's kind of lucky to do that there.
Guys, this ain't
This
trap.
is a trap. Holy moly.
I love this card. Back when I was getting out of college, I built the blue-white Delver deck in Standard, and I top-aided back-to-back SCGs at the time with only 3 Geist, even though every list played 4, because it killed other Geist in the mirror. But I was so broke I couldn't afford the 4th, so I just didn't play it.
That's sad. But I also played a lot of that deck. It was very good.
Alright, so I think here we want to try to hit our Delirium, so we'll cast Consider, and that does it, so we'll put that to the graveyard. I think we just mill this.
Yeah. Yep. That's not bad, actually.
So
and I would just dash again.
So, yeah, I guess I don't need to use this now.
The advantage of the one advantage of using it now is that it saves you life.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, so I think you are supposed to.
All right, let's dash the monkey.
Are they going to block this time?
And they do.
They learned their lesson.
Now they're at 9. I want to go out with a flurry though. I want to grape shot them for lethal.
Yeah, that might be difficult unless we draw like a lightning bolt or. Well, actually, if we draw breach, I'm pretty sure it works pretty easily, right?
Breach, Morphos, Bobbles. Yeah, we could easily do it.
Also, remember DRC plus breach is like it is
1/3
fueling itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scion. Okay. Let's see the leyline binding. Get the fuse.
The problem is you have to initiate because it has flying itself.
I think we're supposed to Unholy Heat here.
Sure. That's reasonable.
Lightning Helix.
Lightning Helix?
Yep.
Sure.
Keep.
Yeah, I would definitely keep that.
They have 2 in hand. We're at 21.
We have an elk that we probably want to pick up.
Thank you for reminding me. Come on, Elky boy.
I think I want to answer one question I think people on the YouTube might ask is should you side in Blood Moon as this deck versus them? While like I think in an ideal world, if you have the board clear and cast Blood Moon with your basic out, you probably win a large portion of the time. I think you win more often by actually just killing all their stuff with the white spells.
So they're going to go to 8 here. Even if I draw Breach off this Consider, it doesn't do a whole lot here. You could like Bobble is a poor person's relay, but that's about it. I mean, I'd be happy to hit Underworld Breach. I'm just saying that it doesn't win the game. We just mill this.
I guess it's a slight punishment for doing it post-combat, but you still keep it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is a punish.
I think it's a big deal. I think you're going, like... Well, I guess their hand's all spells, right?
They haven't shown us a leyline binding yet. And they're 25% of the way through their deck, so statistically they should have 1. Tribal Flames on the Monkey.
Oh gosh.
The respect to Ragavan here.
I mean, like,
It is
Travel
6
Flames is not
damage.
very good when you're at 21, right?
Yeah. So if we wanted to, I mean, I'm not suggesting we make this play, but let's
Yeah.
say you were low on life total, you could Unholy Heat the Angel. Because we're so high on life, we don't necessarily need to make that play, but it's theoretically an option.
Yep. So Dress Down does allow you to kill the Geist, but the ideal time to cast it is during your end step, so it sticks around. Or you could just wait until their turn as well, I think.
Yeah. I'd rather do it on their turn in case they have some sort of interaction or a leyline binding to potentially remove the dress down.
Well, that's okay then, right? Like, don't you just cast
The
Tear
one.
to draw another card?
Yes, it's true. So you want to do it on the end step rather than making them spend the
No,
mana
I
on their
think you're
turn?
supposed to wait because, like, if they cast a Kavu, it ends up really badly for them, right?
I think we want to do it in their beginning of combat.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because I think it's like a bit much to take 6 more damage.
Let's dress you down. I think we want that.
Yep.
Getting a little bit of lag there. Okay. Let's go to attackers, see if they do anything. They do not, and I'll Unholy Heat. Okay.
Do you think they'll remember their Gigantha?
I was just going to point that out. Tribal Flames.
They were trying to punk you with double Tribal Flames, but you had just too much life.
So the dress down goes away now. And they're at 5. They are representing a Lightning Helix with 1 card in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty free to cycle the Manamorphose here.
Yep.
I believe that's lethal.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they could have Lightning Helix, but I don't even think. Maybe you play Iteration first?
So if you iterate first, you have
Hold
to hit a
on.
land.
We could actually figure out how many lands are in your graveyard.
1, 2, 3, and we have no cards in
Okay.
exile.
Yeah, well, I guess this is actually probably the point in time where I would run the numbers just to see.
So we have
So there's,
7 lands out of the deck. I believe it was a 17 land deck.
I think it's 18. So you're like 72% to hit a land. I don't know if you're comfortable with that.
Let's
I
do
also
it.
think the fail case is just not even that bad, even if you fail.
All right. So breach to hand, bobble on the bottom, play the turn. And what's nice about hitting the turn here is we don't have to shock off the turn. We can just grab our basic.
Yep. Good old grape shot.
Grape
Taking
shot for
it home.
4. So a Lightning Helix here would put them to 1.
Yeah, then you have Underworld Breach to cast like a million spells, so. Getting Jura on Amonkhet, I haven't seen that avatar.
Leyline Binding.
Nice.
And thanks to Jarvis and his guidance, because I don't know if I would have gotten here on my own, we're undefeated. Feeling pretty good about this deck so far, Jarvis. What do you think?
It's looked impressive. I mean, like, to be fair, I think that's a lot to do with MH2 cards, but Underworld Breach has also looked very good in the games so far, right?
Yeah, for sure. And they were holding on to the Leyline Binding apparently for Underworld Breach, but we never really had the opportunity to cast it. So, yeah. All right. Match number 3 coming up. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and Mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Match 3, our opponent, Jarvis, does not have a companion. What's up with that? Everybody has a companion.
Well, it's true since they banned the Cat Nightmare.
I just looked at her hand. I don't think this deck mulligans. I feel like we've kept almost every hand we've seen.
I think that's a strength, obviously. Like, we don't have a lot of actually bad cards. Ooh,
Hammer
might
time.
be, yeah. I'm sure you remember this song. It's Hammer Time.
I will spare you my impression. Oh, what a start.
Oh god, that's a really good hand.
Yeah, I'm not feeling good about this. Would you even play the I think you have to play the bobble, right?
You would just give them a card and play both of the baubles out and cycle them.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, we might be in for a rough one.
There's
I
a
think game one of this matchup is pretty bad, but I have a feeling you can just side out a lot of your combo and just kill all of their stuff and win pretty easily.
Jarvis is always trying to get me to not be a combo player.
It's less about that and more about the fact that I also think they love to just side in a million like Tormod's crypts and shit as well.
Yeah.
You know?
They do not attack. Let's use the bobble. Let's look at their top card. Seachrome Coast.
The other one was a plains?
Yep.
Okay. Fascinating.
I mean, if we attack, they're probably going to trade, and I
Yeah,
think I'm
I think
okay
you
with
should
that.
force it. Yeah, I think you should force the issue, actually.
Not playing the land because I want them to think that I need the mana. Really?
Okay. Fascinating. I mean, we know they have two more wins in hand, and they think they can probably just kill us with a hammer or a different way. And they also know that our deck is probably soft Esper Sentinel. Because you look like a traditional Izzet Murktide deck right now, right?
Yeah. Would you just play land channeler? Well, you know that they have a
Yeah, I
blank
think
on
so.
top.
Yeah, I think I would do that. I also think Remand's like atrocious versus them.
Oh, 100%. All of their cards got 0 or 1.
The only one that doesn't is like Pure Steel Paladin. That's like the best one to remand. I'm trying to figure out what their hand is. I think it's probably just like 3 lands at least. Because they didn't play a Pure Steel, they didn't play an Aid, they didn't play a Saga.
So these decks usually have like 1 or 2 main deck spell pierce. We haven't played anything pierce worthy yet.
Right. Oh, that's a good point. They could definitely have that.
They chose not to play the Seachrome Coast. So, okay.
That's a good draw.
How do you, like, would you Manamorphose Iteration here?
I think so, yeah. I think you have to play your land first. I
Oh, so
think
you want to pay the
denying them a
tax?
card is
Oh, okay.
yeah. I think denying them a card is more important than us getting an extra land or whatever. If that makes sense.
I think I'd rather have the mountain. And I know that I didn't fetch a white there, but I kind of just don't want to put myself dead to, like, I don't know, a Shadow Spear plus Hammer or whatever.
Sure, that's reasonable. It's only bad if we find a prismatic ending, I feel like. Oh, I would keep that one.
Alright. Now we Surveil again. I'm going to put that on the bottom. Or to the graveyard, I mean. Iteration.
Oh, there's spell piercing. Good call on the pierce. It does make sense for them to have for sure, though.
Yeah. Like, they could have pierced the Manamorphose there. So
Yeah,
I
I
was...
think that's weird. I guess their reasoning is it doesn't really get you up cards.
What did they keep?
Yo. I mean, I think they kept Land, Sentinel, Ornithopter, Drum, Nexus, Pierce. Oh,
Hannah's
that's
looking
really
pretty
good.
good. I think we just sit back. I don't think we need to do anything else at this point.
I agree.
I will never get used to not having to click my creature to attack. Come on.
That's the one that saves you time. It always does the right thing.
Well, they should undo it because I don't want my life to be made more convenient. Okay, Jarvis? Back in my day, we had to click our creatures and we liked it.
So they have a second Seachrome Coast in hand we know about.
No, this is the one that they played.
Oh, I see. Okay. So now we don't know anything.
Correct.
Alright, I think I'm killing the Sentinel on step.
I'm just trying to think if there's a reason to use... Like, I don't think the 6 matters against them, so I think I want to save the Bolt because it has reach.
The way the 6 will matter is exactly Urza Saga push Shadow Spear, so I think I might save it for that actually.
Okay.
Basically, I think you only lose to like cheesy Urza Saga stuff now, if that makes sense.
And I'm going to disrespect the second copy of Spell Pierce here.
I agree.
Alright, so we get to untap. Now we'll play Iteration. And we're playing Iteration first because I could end up dashing a Ragavan here. Why haven't I auto-yielded to that yet? Obviously, I want this. I'm sorry, Grape Shot.
DRC is like Grape Shot.
I'm going to decide on my land post-combat.
Yeah. I think I would just play it untapped, personally.
Yeah. I don't think 15 versus 17 is a meaningful difference here. We could also start to look at a Lightning Bolt win with the Breach. So we could bolt them end step, untap, attack, Underworld Breach, Bolt.
Breach really has looked fantastic in all of these games so far.
Yeah.
I think our opponent just has drawn only lands. Alright, well, I'm less inclined to bolt them end step now.
Yeah. So it's worth noting for that line that we described, we don't have to bolt them. We can just attack and see if they don't block and then make a decision after.
Right.
Okay.
The primary problem I have with that is it turns on Spell Pierce when you don't really have to.
I mean, I'm fine just passing here.
Yeah, I think just passing is better. Like, how do they beat Heat Bolt here? Heat Bolt Remand, really?
They don't.
Alright. Oh, actually, maybe it wasn't alright. It's possible you should have just responded by killing Esper Sentinel.
I think it's fine because if their last card is Hammer, we can kill both creatures in response. And pay for the Sentinel.
Yeah. Okay. Wonder if they have a hammer. They don't even have a hammer. So they literally just okay. I have some words about the hand that they kept. I believe the hand that they kept is not actually keepable if you ask basically all of the good hammer players.
Okay, we'll put this to graveyard. Sorry, Brawl. Pay the tax. And then bolt the Thopter.
You see so many freaking cards. It's kind of unreal.
I mean, one more channeler and our escapes would be free.
Sadly, they're dead first.
Yeah, tragic. I can't believe we won that game. I thought for sure with that start we were dead.
I can believe it because they literally never played a way to draw a hammer.
Alright, so I think the easy cuts are we take out the Remands. I think we're probably taking out Brawl. Probably the Teferi. I'm just taking out cards that initially stand out to me and then we can come back. Dress Down is fine versus Saga, so we probably want that. I've seen Blood Moon be sided in against Hammer, so we could talk about this one. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else we dislike. I think everything else is probably fine, so we just board out the moons and go back to 60.
So, thing I'm thinking about mostly is this is actually sort of a point of contention. Is how good is Teferi versus Hammer? Because it's like kind of weird. I think if it was literally in play, it's a very good card, but sometimes the difficulty is tapping out for it to force it through. But I have a feeling that like cutting one breach for one hammer goes a long way. Or one Teferi rather. One breach for one Teferi.
Okay. So I'm just going to circle back to Blood Moon. Like, I'm okay with leaving it in the board, but it is worth noting it hits Nexus and obviously Urza Saga. Is there any argument to having a moon to dig for in the deck over another card?
The major problem I have with that is I think your white cards are really important versus them. Like, I think the endings,
I was going to suggest it over the Grape Shot, unfortunately. I know that you can, like, mini Grape Shot their board, but is a one of Moon better than the Grape Shot, I guess is what I was going to ask.
I don't think so. I think if I were inclined to cut another card, it would be the third Breach, but I would rather have the Breach than the Blood Moon, I think.
Okay. Reveal the Elk.
I don't think the Elk matters much in this matchup.
I think we found a mulligan. There's just no
I think so too. It's so close. If one of those lands was a removal spell, I would keep. Hmm.
So you could bottom the breach and just say, like, I will draw a red land.
Let's check how many red lands are in the deck before we decide. I think the answer is not that many, but you get 2 draws at it. 4, 5, 9, 10, 16. So it's 16. I mean, the hand's pretty spectacular if you draw a red source. Do you agree with that?
I would.
Come on, what page? So you're like 51.7% to hit it in 2 draws. I have a question for you. Do you think a 5 card hand has a better chance of winning than that?
Probably not.
I also don't believe so.
Goodbye, breach.
It's like considers like a redraw, bobbles like a redraw. So I think it's actually higher than that number, probably.
Seachrome Coast into Sigurd is a pretty good prismatic ending target.
Yep.
Ouch. We go to 18. Goodbye. Should we hold on? Should we burn the wear tear instead?
No, because of Urza Saga.
Okay. Just want to ask the question.
Yeah. Basically, Urza Saga is like super messed up. How much
Yeah, and there it is.
their hand's really good this time. Last game, their hand was like not very good. This hand's like the complete opposite.
They pick up Sword of Fire and Ice.
Huh.
Okay, we failed the hit. I'm
Oh,
just gonna pluck off the Saga.
yeah. This might be an unfortunate game, but sometimes you take your licks.
Another copy of Saga. Another Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah, this hand was pretty good.
I think we might have lost this hand even with like a 7 card hand, honestly.
They pick up a hammer. Yeah.
I mean, we still don't know if they have Cauldron complete in their deck. All right. Uh,
So I think it's actually right to play up the Channeler here because even if they put Sword of Fire Ice into play, they can't play an equip. So I think you're supposed to play
I
out
agree with
the
that too. I think also like realistically, you have to imagine the games. What do the games you win look like? I don't think like just casting a shock that turn is going to win any games.
yeah. So play the Channeler. Pass the turn.
Because I think like hypothetically, you could like maybe there's a world where they don't have another land and you get like another DRC/red source like next turn and get things really going.
So we have
I just want to
instant
know if they have Culture
sorcery
completely.
land. Yeah. Relic.
This is why I don't like leaning heavily into the plan postboard. You know.
Let's remove the instant because we have more instants.
Right. Okay, they don't have a land. At least
I'm gonna just
it's
take
going to be
two.
hard for you to get Delirium.
I think assuming that we draw like another blank, it's just play Dragon's Rage and attack.
Probably, yeah. Hmm. I think actually, well, you should definitely play the DRC. I think drawing another ending, there's a lot of merit to just ending the relic.
Yeah, I was thinking that myself. My only concern is that we lose the Delirium Mills this turn, but I think that's actually just fine.
I think you're gonna like mill so many cards that it doesn't really matter.
So this would give us Delirium. However, I have to imagine they're going to pop the Relic. Did I put that on top? Whoops.
You did. I actually don't even think it's that terrible to put on top, weirdly enough, but
That was a misclick, but it's fine because it does give us extra Delirium next turn.
yeah, that's what I was actually thinking about. I think it might actually just be correct to keep that, but we'll see what happens. Have to imagine this gets a drum, and I think one of the likely cards for them to be holding is Pure Still Paladin, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So if they do have Paladin, they don't have 3 artifacts from Metalcraft yet. But Hammer's an artifact for only 1 mana, which is just very cost
Yeah.
efficient.
Also draws them a card off the Paladin trigger.
The Brute. So if they did have Pure Steel, this would actually be lethal.
Oh, you can
Um,
block.
well, we're not blocking that.
So they're going to put Sophie in.
Consider leaving the red source up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to mill this. So that's another sorcery to the graveyard. Doesn't really help that much. Artifact is actually kind of big here. So sorcery, instant artifact, draw.
That's to him.
For some reason, I thought we were on the draw there, but oh, it's the surveil off the consider. Okay.
Yep.
And now we get in,
So just,
holding open the removal. So this
yeah.
every time.
Every time. Every time.
I can't help it. So it's worth noting here that lightning bolt changes the clock. So I think we want to use the unholy heat if necessary.
Yeah. I suspect it's not going to actually work. Like, I think they probably have a pierce or a blacksmith skill based on how they've played this game.
That is a sword.
Fortunately, it can't kill our creatures.
What a shame.
What a shame for them.
Saga will go up to 2.
Oh, God.
We know that they have the hammer in hand.
Yep. So you can't cast your heat.
So if they could try to bluff us and they didn't, is they could have equipped with the sword, and then it's like try to pull like bait out the removal spell.
So this means spell pierce, I think.
Yeah.
It's pierce or blacksmith skill. I mean, obviously you have to cast your thing, but
they could have baited main phase and then played a land into hammer.
yeah, but I think they just didn't have the land, obviously. So, yep.
Oh.
Okay. Well, whatever. I mean, you can never beat that one.
Yeah, but have you heard of second hammer?
It's mega hammer time. All right. On the play, I like a second Teferi more than the third breach. I think because I think bouncing Urza Saga is worth a lot, actually.
Okay.
So you saw Relic already, and usually they have a bunch of spell pierces too.
Okay. Keep.
Yep.
I don't care if I don't have a creature. I have an elk in the companion or command zone. I don't think we're ever going to touch the elk, but I can pretend.
You could in a really long game after you've cast a bunch of iterations.
So I'm
But
playing out
that's
the
like
Flooded
about it.
Strand first here because I think there's probably a pretty low likelihood we cast Bolt. So I'd rather just go get the Steam Vents out of the deck.
Right. I kind of feel like this matchup matters how good their hand is, less than how good your hand is.
I'm fine with this. I'm not going to touch that thing.
No.
The Brute. I guess I could cycle Manamorphose at some point.
I think you can wait a little bit.
If nothing happens here, how do you feel about going to get Sacred Foundry?
I like it.
And we're in a standoff with the Ginger Brute.
I like your chances if that's all that's going to happen.
So it's kind of a shame. When Eldraine came out, I loved that little preview video they did with Ginger Brute. And they haven't done anything like that since.
Fascinating. I think you just cast the Ragavan, not dash it.
Yeah, that was my instinct as well.
Yeah. I don't think Ginger Brute's attacking us anymore, unless if they have something.
Well, they could always put the mana into it, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, Ginger Brute was my favorite card from Throne of Eldraine that wasn't like horribly broken in half, obviously.
I did a lot of Eldraine Limited. A lot. I loved drafting the Mono Blue Mill deck with the Merfolk.
Secret Keeper, yeah.
Yeah. Sanctifier. We do have this path.
Yep. Don't think you want to cast the path this turn. I think I would just EOT Bolt on the Ginger Brute, probably.
Yeah, because
the reason is spell pierce.
Exactly.
I think you don't care if they spell pierce the bolt, but you definitely do care if they spell pierce that path.
They're F6, but I don't think we want to try to take advantage.
No, I think like also you didn't actually have another white source left to fetch because it's in your hand. That's interesting. I would still play around. Well, actually, hold on. Let's think. Suppose they have blacksmith skill. If you play the land untapped and you play Ending for 2, you can get around Blacksmith skill at least.
Okay.
And also, I think Ending is just a worse card than Path Exile.
Because of the instant
Like, generally
speed.
speaking.
Yeah. Okay. So prismatic ending. Hexproof. So now we can.
So, is there merit to just cycling Metamorphose first?
I mean, we could, but it's one less card in our graveyard. I think I'd rather just path.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, it's better to do this then, yeah. Also, I like how I've figured out that, well, they either had Pierce or Spell Pierce, or Pierce or Blacksmith skill, right? So if you think they have Blacksmith skill, it's just correct to do this every time.
Mm-hmm. So now the Ragavan gets in. Trigger. Oh, I wanted to cast a hammer spell so badly.
None of their spells are good, though. Like, that's the actual problem. Oh, sorry. Sword of Fire and Ice is pretty good, but the rest of them are like kind of dog shit.
All right, so they have 4 in hand, and they're just not doing anything.
I
So
think I would attack if they animate and go to block, I wouldn't use the thing because of Blacksmith skill. I would just let the trade happen and put Gigantha in our hand.
I was going to say that.
So where are your expressive iterations? They're hiding.
I cut them all when you weren't looking. I was like, Jarvis isn't going to make me play a control deck. I'm going to keep the combo in. And when you blinked, I just boarded it all back.
I can't wait for you to draw that. Yeah, it doesn't, yeah. I mean, you could kill with the trigger in the stack, but it doesn't really change anything.
It would just be us playing into Spell Pierce.
Right. Right.
So let's do the main phase Wear Tear.
It's Tear, I believe.
Yeah. And then if they Spell Pierce, we can't cast the Gigantha, but if nothing happens, we get to do both.
Bang, let's cast it.
All right, this time the Elk is going to be red.
Ah, cool. So it plays right into Sanctuary on Vec.
Exactly. Man, this Elk is doing damage.
It has looked better than I thought it would be. I won't lie.
The reality chip.
I love that card too, only because its creature type line is ridiculous.
For the fans at home, it's not going to actually let me see all of it.
Just right click on it instead, I think.
There we go. Equipment Jellyfish. Legendary
artifact creature. Equipment Jellyfish.
So I believe we have Delirium. We have instant creature, sorcery, land. So we can Unholy Heat here.
I'm down for it.
And I'm just going to hold the Metamorphose. I don't think we need to cycle it.
Yeah, you have DRCs in your deck as well, so okay.
And they conceded. Jarvis, you're carrying me. We are undefeated. I know that we talked about it at the end of match 2, but I'm feeling pretty good about this deck. I went in with like kind of average expectations, but it's looked solid.
I had slightly higher expectations, but that's because I looked at the cards that were in the deck and just recognized. I mean, like, I think it's just a matter of viewpoint on how you view the deck. I view it as a combo deck second and, like, good cards first. I think you viewed it the other way. If you view it the other way, I think the deck doesn't look very good.
Yeah, for sure. All right, match number 4 coming up in just a moment. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. 4th match, we're on the draw. Here we've opened up a hand with no turn 1 threat. We do have Grape Shot to be a better removal spell. So essentially we can kill a 2-drop on 2. How do you feel about this? I'm sort of in between. Like, it looks like a low-end keep or a mulligan. I'm not really sure.
Well, do you want me to tell you something about our opponent, or do you generally not do that stuff?
I am fine with any information that you would like to share.
All right, this person's a hammer 1 trick. So this hand's, like, actually unkeepable.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Oh, I thought you were going to say easy keep because of the Grape Shot. I'm so sorry.
No, I think, like, yeah, I expect to be obliterated now. They're also a very good hammer player, so I think, like...
Oh, we drew a terrible card.
Well, so just bubble yourself first, I think.
Okay, and we'll fetch.
think you just get Sacred Foundry and hope it works out.
I think we were actually supposed to get the Steam vents so that way we could consider.
Well, my issue is like we need white in case we get lucky, and we also need red if we also get lucky.
Not looking too good for the home team here. Okay. Shadow Spear. So I'm just going to do a silly bluff here. I'm going to hold this consider to make it look like we're going to cast a spell.
Mm-hmm.
And then pause and click cancel. Put the fear of God into them, Jarvis. That's what I'm going for here.
So now all that's left is to actually draw a lightning bolt.
You're asking too much. I think we just pass.
I agree.
They have 3 in hand. We're at 15. So assuming that we don't draw a removal spell here, we can consider and then pick up the Ornithopter, but we would be dead to activate Nexus Hammer. I guess you could get around. No, that's still kind of bad.
I would just ship it, I think.
You would get rid of this?
Yeah. I think the problem is it's like so hard to have enough time to actually do that, right?
So many lands.
So I think you just have to bite the bullet, unfortunately.
You would play the Teferi?
Yeah.
It's worth noting they do have Spell Pierce mana available here.
Sag.
It's my fault. I kept the hand that we were supposed to mulligan.
Yeah, I don't think that hand beats most decks in this format, like period, but it especially doesn't beat Hammer. I mean, I guess the correction is it doesn't beat any of like the reasonable Hammer hands.
And now we're dead. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. My fault.
So we're sideboarding. Worth noting that this person tends to play Draneth Magistrate,
Okay.
which makes Breach even worse than normal, I think is how I would put it.
Do you think that they would board in Breach on the blind versus us?
That's a good question. I think you showed them. Wait, what do you show
Or
them?
board
Consider.
in Dranith Magistrate, I should have said, not Breach.
That's a better question. Yeah.
So this is 60 right now.
I would still prefer to have Breach over Remand. I think Remand is just like.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about the remands.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you just kind of have to like
Not keep bad hands and
sideboard
win.
like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if I can do better now. The Elk. I don't know about this one.
I think you can do better, personally.
It's like the same hand, but with 2 lands. I think we keep this in bottom iteration.
You can also bottom Breach. It's kind of interesting to think about.
I'm also okay with that.
I think I would be more inclined to bottom Breach and just play towards it much later.
So if they do nothing meaningful, what land do you want to fetch with this Flooded Strand to cast to consider? Well, now we need to...
You need to decide now. Probably Steam Vents, I think.
So that means that you're willing to get the Sacred Foundry or Hallowed Fountain with Tarn?
Yeah. Yeah. I think just our hand's so color intensive as it is, it's like kind of hard to not do that.
All right, we'll tap for blue, cast Consider. Get rid of the spare land. The Breach is back.
Back. I don't think we won it yet.
I think we just dash.
Yeah. If they block, fine, that's fine.
We'll dash the Ragavan. Go to combat. And like Jarvis said, they don't actually have cards that we are super interested in. So I'm very happy with this exchange.
Yep. I mean, they're like a synergy deck, which is why, like, imagine if you just dealt out random cards from like synergy decks and gave it to like a normal deck. They wouldn't be very good on average, I think.
So they slip the 8 into play with a Giver of Runes.
Right, this is probably a Metamorphose iteration turn.
All right.
It's probably a double Metamorphose iteration turn.
Storm 1. Blue, red. Okay. So we have one more White Source in our deck.
Yeah. I still want to make blue red and just iterate.
So
There you go.
hand. Which one of these do you put on the bottom? Which one do you play?
I don't know. Is one of them foil Japanese?
I don't believe so, unfortunately. And I think I just want to remove. That's actually interesting. I think I would remove the aid and save the wear tear for Saga, like you mentioned.
Yeah. I think you definitely save the wear tear. I think it's a better question. Do you kill Giver of Runes or Sigarda's Aid? But you probably should just kill Aid.
Yeah, like the Giver runes we can bounce with Teferi or kill later with another piece.
Yeah.
And they're down to 3 cards in hand, so they're usually at that point where they start to flounder a little bit. Uh-oh. We're dead to hammer. No! Ah,
I mean, I thought about it, but I think it is better to kill the 8 on average.
they got me. All right, we got our first match loss. I will blame me for this one. I kept a hand we shouldn't have kept in game number 1. That's my own fault. You can't stop me from being awful, Jarvis. I know that you tried, but I prevailed. Match number 5 coming up. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? We've made it simple to do so by including a button to rent the entire deck at theepicstorm.com/decklist. The 5th and final round, once again, I have the master Jarvis Yu with me who couldn't stop me from getting in my own way. Jarvis, this is the first hand that's even looked a little bit like a combo hand. Are we allowed to keep it?
I mean, it also has DRC Bobble iteration and 2 lands, so I wouldn't mulligan.
Unfortunately, we're on the draw. Turn 1 Mountain. Okay, not Goblin
Hmm.
Guide. Well, their hand looks familiar.
It's more likely to be a prowess deck of sorts.
So they'll draw off Bobble. I mean, we will make a similar play. Cast the Mishra's Bobble. Surveil. And they are, in fact, Prowess.
Oh my god, we got gut-shotted?
I have seen this in the Prowess decks for what it's worth. Get rid of the
That's
land.
just fascinating.
Uh-oh. We're going to get ran
Ooh, that's
over.
not good.
I don't like this. That's a Swift Spear. No land? Okay.
Nah,
What do you think about just land brawl? Or
I
like,
would do it.
my only fear is lightning bolt, but the upside here is pretty high, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, if they have bolt, they have bolt. Notably, I think like if they show you gut shot, I think there's a real chance they play mutagenic growth as well.
That's probably true.
All right, whatever. I'm calling. I think you are not allowed not to call.
And there it is. Mutagenic growth. Brutal. So we're going to take 4 here. We lose our brawl. We go to 12 life. Go to 11. Play the channeler. Is there any reason for us to consider in the main phase? Like, I guess if I hit a Ragavan?
I don't think you should, personally. I'm actually thinking about, is it good to just cast this iteration just to get Delirium?
Okay.
I think it's actually right, even though it looks super goofy. Alright, yeah. I mean, we were not likely to hit 2 spells very often, or 2 cards we could use very often there,
I don't think
right?
it matters.
Yeah.
Pass the turn. So we have to be able to hope to pluck off a creature here and then survive. They hit land 2. So Manamorphose. Oh, Expressive Iteration.
Their deck is a really good iteration deck.
Yes,
There's
between
like 12 zeros in it or some nonsense. Also, you can always mill Lava Dart as a fake 0.
they put a Soulscar Mage to exile. I think we just have to block the channeler here.
Oh, wait. Do we have to? I feel like they would just make this attack even if they didn't draw 0.
So
Regardless, right?
I was thinking we could take the guaranteed trade. So if they have another like mutagenic growth or whatever, we can untap Unholy Heat, and then we're only dealing with 1 creature. rather than
But if
potentially.
they have mutagenic growth, it's going to save whatever creature you block anyways, right?
Okay, that's fair. Or gut shot. I guess they have equal odds, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, they just make that attack regardless because um so yeah, I would just kill the DRC.
And I think here I want to expressive iteration.
I agree. I think you should just treat the remand as a dead card.
Feeling a little bit of lag here. I'm gonna surveil away the monkey. I guess no, I don't want it. That hurt. Alright, I have to hope to not be dead here. Land 3. Sprite Dragon, 2 cards in hand. Believe that does it.
Yep. Not into sacrifice.
So we lost game 1 against Prowess. We started to make a comeback there.
Remand and Teferi are extremely bad.
Okay, so we probably want this path. I don't hate the fluster. I think ending is slow but fine.
Yeah, I like having 2 flusters, I think.
Is there anything else we feel like is a stinker?
No, it doesn't look like it.
Alright, on the play. Reveal the elk. I'm gonna keep. I know it's a one-lander, but turn 1 Ragavan plus removal.
I mean, I think this is a fantastic hand to keep.
The downside is obviously gut shot, but I'm not gonna. Whoops. I'm not gonna play around gut shot. Ouch. Monkey C. Does monkey go to the graveyard? Spire Bluff Canal, Monastery Swift Spear.
It would not block this time.
I would also not block. Okay, so
Okay, yeah, good shotted.
let's attack first, because if we hit expressive iteration, we can cast it off the treasure and our land. Tarn. I think here I like Channeler into Grape Shot.
Well, let's think about this one sec. Just think about how bad Lava Dart would be if they had Mountain Lava Dart. I think is what I want to think about. Can we avoid that? Is the real question.
Okay.
So I guess we can't really. It costs you so much to wait around versus that, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, we could go Channeler, Consider, Unholy Heat, and try to hit Delirium.
Well, yeah, I definitely want to go Channeler Heat because that makes them use mutagenic growth now if they have it, right?
So the thing is, Grape Shot would be a good use of mana and resources here because we wouldn't have that going forward, but I'll trust your opinion.
Well, we'll always have the treasure, right? Like sacking the treasure. Like, yeah, I'm more inclined to keep the treasure hanging around. Don't believe we want that though.
All right, so no free spell.
I think it was unlikely, but okay.
Bobble. They did play a mountain, which has me a little bit nervous here.
They bobbled themselves?
I didn't see, I'm sorry.
They did. I'm checking the log.
So we're at 14 and they have 4 cards in hand. So they draw off the bobble trigger. I'm going to cast Consider now to try to hit Delirium.
Yeah, I agree. I
think I want this.
I think that's reasonable, yeah. Right.
Swing back. Ragavan triggers. Bobble, that's a good one.
It doesn't give you Delirium for what it's worth, but you can use it at least to look at your top card.
Yeah, but it's also just like another Surveil trigger. It's a free draw. Like, it has value.
Yeah, it's a free card for sure. We should just bobble ourselves. We have a fetch.
Oh. Well, we also know that they have
that's
good
good to know about. But yeah, I basically very rarely bobble my opponents.
We could have considered grape shotting there. I didn't even think of it until I clicked OK.
Come on, just play iteration. You know you want to. I can't fluster that fast enough.
I literally can't. I should have restarted it at some point. So we get the Surveil. I will definitely keep this. Tormod's Crypt. Okay. So we do know that they have the iteration.
You mean
Or the...
Mutagenic?
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have iteration on top.
Yep.
I don't think I want to fetch, just in case that life point ends up mattering. And I think I want to keep this around, which might seem a little bit odd, but it will help us rebuild Delirium after the Tormod script.
Mm-hmm. I would just try to hit them now. Are they just taking it?
They are.
I guess they're afraid to breach that much.
We hit their own Tormod script. So I have a question for you. Do you think it's unreasonable here to try to grape shot the Swift Spear out?
No.
Kind of. Hold on. I wonder if we could actually breach win here with grape shot.
Well, they'll crypt you, right?
Well, we would play breach. Well, we'd sack the treasures. Play
Okay.
breach, and then we can Manamorphose off this, which would hit consider. No, we wouldn't have enough resources. Okay, I'm being ridiculous.
I honestly thought that they were going to crypt you and not take the 2 extra damage, but
Manamorphose. What's the storm count would have to be? What would the storm count have to be for you to want to kill this Swift Spear?
well, it's basically a 6 toughness creature, right? Or a 5 toughness creature, right?
Yeah. So I guess what I'm asking is, are you okay with them playing a second spell? And I think the answer is yes, because it means I'm not dying on my turn, on their turn.
Yeah, I think so. And they're down 2 cards then, right? Like,
I should have made red. Yeah. I'm gonna fetch Island and play Brawl.
it is a free spell to cast. Mostly free, anyways.
Okay. So even if they had another free spell here,
If it's doubled mutagenic, you don't even care because that's like a lot of life for them to pay and use. So yeah, all of the targets on it.
so if they have Lava Dart, they could also make it live, but they'd have to sack a mountain.
I think it's pretty easy to write off Lava Dart because they would have darted Ragavan, flashback dart on channel, and crypted you.
Yeah. And then after this is done resolving, I'm gonna play my Steam Vents.
Alright, you get a surveil. It was hiding underneath the storm trigger.
Okay, feeling decent about this one. I guess I shouldn't have 6. I do have a Tormod script. Okay. The final game of the night. Jarvis, any changes you would make on the draw?
Looking real quick. I think there's actually merit to having the third Fluster in now that I think about it and just cutting 1 breach.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine, especially if they showed us that they were willing to board in Tormod script.
That's exactly my thought, and it's actually hard for them to like come back from card deficits without expressive iteration. Well, fantastic hand.
Keep. Let's go.
I think basically all of the games revolve around them sticking creatures and them killing you with them, and basically nothing else matters.
And no one drop.
Yeah. Okay, I think you want to draw that one.
Feeling pretty good about this at the moment.
Also, if both of you flood out, you can always just go pick up Gigantha and they can't.
The dragon. So if they have mutagenic growth here, it would live.
Yeah, so you should just use heat regardless.
And there it is. So we can untap and
Yeah.
bolt it and everything will be fine. Another thing you could
Yeah.
have done is, or what we could have done is untap and then cast bolt or heat with fluster backup. But I think the fluster
Yeah.
storm is better off being saved. That's actually really interesting. I think I'm going to take the damage off Steam Vents, keep the turn open as a white source, play channel or bolt.
Seems reasonable.
Surveil. Another mutagenic growth. Okay, that's a little obnoxious. Is it starting to get out of the range? Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Well, just hopefully
We don't
things
die.
don't go too badly for us. But
Okay. They look at their own top, not ours. Expressive iteration. Tormod's crypt. That's 6 damage. So it's worth noting I do have to spend 3 life to get a white source.
Yeah, but they're not a burn deck. Like, obviously they do have lightning bolts, but like they're not actually a burn deck.
Yeah. So we're gonna spend that 3 life here going to 5. Grab the Sacred Foundry. Giving them a land here isn't ideal. I mean, I could try to do it in their upkeep.
So I think you should just path upkeep anyways.
So we have Artifact, Instant, Land. I will consider... I guess it doesn't matter. They have a Crypt. I'm going to keep this. Poke them. They're at 12. My only fear, and I mean, I've seen some lists in the past that have Spell Pierce in them. Maybe I'm like overvaluing that, but I think in general, the Flusterstorm should get the job done, and this way they don't have an extra land on their turn.
That's basically what I'm worried about. I don't think you want that one.
It does incentivize them to pop the Crypt now.
You just don't have another creature.
I hope. Sure, are we supposed to fight over this?
I think so, because it just like then you just have a lot more liberty to tap out on other turns, right?
Yeah, my other fear is if we don't fluster this, that this Flusterstorm might rot in our hand the rest of the game with them having 4 lands.
Yeah, right. Also, if you don't fluster that and they just say go and have Lava Dart, the game becomes incredibly awkward.
Yeah. That has to be meld.
Yep.
Puts me to 4. Oh, wow. I'm dead to Lava Dart now.
Yeah, I was thinking back towards turn 2. I wonder if we should have just not even played the DRC and just guaranteed we could kill the thing, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think about it for long enough, I think is the problem, but...
There's a number of cards that kill us. Have to just kind of hope to get by.
The problem with them, like, actually casting Bolt there, I think it's very likely that they have it, otherwise that's, like, maniacal to do. Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Sad. So, I think in retrospect, not playing around the second Mutagenic Growth when we could afford to do so was actually a mistake.
Yeah.
Because if you just play your land, you just play your land untapped, just play your kill spell, they go to Mutagenic Growth, you fluster, the thing's dead, but you're up so many cards, like, killing them doesn't matter. Your life total matters more than their life total, I think, is generally how I would put it. So I think I didn't think about it long enough, but,
Yeah,
happens.
and I mean, I was the one driving. I kind of just made a play there. Sigarda, Host of Herons, and Cryptborn Horror. So kind of a stinker. So Jarvis, once again, thank you for coming on the channel. I really do appreciate you guiding me. And I'm sorry that not once but twice I sort of just took the driver's seat and failed you on that mulligan that keep that should have been a mulligan and then not killing the dragon.
Well, I didn't really enunciate the dragon thing very well. I was thinking it through, then something had happened already.
Magic is a difficult game. I thought it was a pretty big like no-brainer play to play the dragon there, or the Dragon's Rage Channeler, but I got burned. Jarvis, once again, where can the people find you?
Play a lot of Magic on twitch.tv/Jarvis Yu. You can find me on Twitter, JKYU06. YouTube, Jarvis Yu, Medify, Jarvis Yu, MTG, I think. Let me go check that. Yeah, no, just Jarvis Yu. Yeah, and I'm pretty happy to talk about Magic. Bryant knows I'll look at basically all decks and talk about them with basically anyone,
Yeah. All right, well, everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video that we tricked you into thinking it was a combo deck. It was not. It was actually just Jeskai Tempo. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Keep storming. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.